Hi, how you going? In this video we're going to be checking if Lords of the Fallen multiplayer is any good after all the patches. The latest patch brought a few welcome changes, such as an option to ignore ping rules when randomly matchmaking, and a few others. To see how well multiplayer works now, I'm gonna show you different aspects of it: co-op matchmaking with randos, with ping restrictions on and off, PvP invasions, direct co-op with a person who lives close by, and with a person from far away. I know that most people have moved on already, but this video could be helpful for someone considering coming back to the game or even looking to pick it up. And if you're still playing, your insight and your opinion will be valuable for the community, so share your experience in the comments. And before we start, if you're new here, first of all, welcome in. I mostly focus on making Soulsborne/Souls-like related content, game reviews, news, updates and streams. If that's something you'd want to see in your feed, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell thing. It's a great way to support a content creator. Likes, shares and comments are always appreciated too. Thank you very much. Back to the video now. I'd like to start with PvP because it's the aspect that works relatively well, at least network-wise. I did around 40 invasions in the span of the last 3 days for the sake of this video, and only once I got disconnected during the loading screen. Even a few weeks ago it was much worse. Seriously, I used to get disconnected 4 times out of 5 trying to invade. Now it's much better, so here's an improvement. When it comes to waiting time, for me it was around a minute and a half on average, and when I say a minute and a half, I don't mean that you have to wait for a minute and a half every time you try to invade. It's more like sometimes it takes 5 seconds, sometimes it could be 4 to 5 minutes. When it comes to latency, there's still some lag here and there, but nothing like it was on launch or again even a month ago. It's always circumstantial, of course. Some matches are silk smooth and some are crazy choppy, but since the waiting time is not too bad and most matches last less than a minute, I'd say it's okay. All the things said above also apply to getting invaded. The only difference between getting invaded before and after the patch for me was that after the patch I started getting invaded every 5 minutes or so, but it's probably due to more players coming back to the game to check out the changes that came with the patch. Also, if you are invaded, you are the host, so there's nothing for you to worry about lag-wise. I'd say PvP in Lords of the Fallen is in a much better shape now, at least it works better for me. I'm not getting disconnected anymore and there's always someone to fight, and there are still people looking for a fight. But I also want to mention that PvP requires some serious balancing. Now, I'm not a PvP player and I'm actually extremely bad at PvP, so what I say about balancing is not an expert opinion or anything, but the fact that I somehow managed to defeat like 9 players out of 10 with ease when invading actually scares me. I'm using a Seismic Slam spell and 2 Grinning Axes with Sean runes. It's not even a PvP build, I use it for PvE, but I'm only going down when somebody starts spamming Orius's Judgment. It's a nasty AoE spell, or Light Reaper Sword special attack. It feels like in Lords of the Fallen whoever spams shit faster wins. Again, I'm not an expert, but when I start winning too much, it usually is an indication that something is off. If you're still playing, share your experience with Lords of the Fallen PvP with us in the comments. How is it for you? Before we move on to the next chapter of the video, I'd also like to mention a bug that has nothing to do with how multiplayer works, but I've never seen it before. I was in the queue to invade and got summoned the moment I interacted with a vestige, and then this happened. It also didn't go away after the match, so I had to restart the game. Now let's talk about co-op, joining games or summoning randoms into your world. Just like with PvP, it works much better now. It's more fluid and I find myself rubber banding less. It's not ideal, and given the fact that Lords of the Fallen uses a peer-to-peer system, it's very circumstantial and host dependent. Sometimes it's almost perfect and sometimes you can't even dodge a well-telegraphed attack due to a delay. It also feels like before the latest patch, 1.1.485, we were region locked or something, and the fact that they added an option for players to ignore ping matchmaking rules kinda confirms it. There's now an option to turn it on and off. Let's take a closer look at that for when joining somebody. When the restriction is on, the system only connects you with players that have lower ping, that are close by, and you are getting more smooth experience. But here's a big but though. The waiting time is horrible, it's atrocious. It can take you like 50 minutes to find a player to join. I ended up leaving my game running and went out to have lunch. OBS was on and recording, and I came back to a 55-minute long video of me just standing there and waiting. It's that bad. I thought, well, maybe nobody needs help anymore, but I don't know. Online at a time was nearly 1,000 on Steam only. These are just Steam players. So with the latest patch, there's now an option to turn ping restrictions off, which broadens the search, but there's a chance of connecting with players with higher ping, and this is how it looks. As you might have thought, it's not very good. To me, it looks exactly how it was on launch. That actually raises a question: what has been done and what changes were implemented to provide a smoother multiplayer experience? Region locking players? I don't know. Most of the time, there's no point in trying to fight a boss because you die almost instantly. The game doesn't register half of your inputs and you can't effectively dodge or parry. Though waiting times are not so bad. I'd say it's around 5 minutes on average. So if you genuinely want to help somebody defeat a boss or something, you should probably turn ping restriction on and patiently wait. But if you're joining to farm some XP, you can turn it off and join hoping it won't be too bad. Since Hexworks quote-unquote fixed all the farming spots in the game, the only legit way to farm is through co-op, as far as I know. When it comes to summoning players into your world, it's actually not that bad. Average waiting time for me was around 5 minutes, but again, sometimes it's almost instant, sometimes you have to wait a bit. My advice is, if you're stuck with a boss and need help, try beckoning someone and keep fighting. At some point somebody will join, and thankfully players can join your world even mid-fight. I've also tried connecting with friends directly. My friend Mono is from the US and we had a quick session where he was the host and it was, as I expected, not too good. We made it through the first location, Abandoned Red Cops, and reached Pietà, but couldn't beat her because, well, Mono was still new to the game and I was lagging so bad I couldn't parry or even dodge any of her attacks. And Pietà is a boss that I fought so many times, playing so many different characters with different builds, I can pretty much beat her blindfolded. That's how bad it was. Playing with someone who lives in the same city as me, as I expected, was better. Not perfect, but manageable. We fought Sundered Monarch and it was fine. Dodging his sweep attacks was pretty easy. I think it's definitely possible to beat the game back to back with a friend in co-op if they live close by and enjoy the process. So, if you're looking to come back to the game for PvP, it's better now, but be ready to get spammed with bullshit OP spells. And if you're looking to pick up the game to play in co-op, make sure you have somebody to play it with, because most likely you will have a hard time finding random people, or it will be borderline unplayable for you and just not fun. Hopefully a good solid reason to come back to the game will be when they finally release New Game Plus modifiers, item randomizer, enemy randomizer, etc. I think if done right, it will give the game its second wind, and I will defo review it as soon as it comes out, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And that's about it. Tell me about your experience with Lords of the Fallen in the comments, like and share this video with friends. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MightyMelvo and join our fun Discord for chats. All the links are in the description. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.